Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently at peace. Although there's not, I think, all that much point in remaining at peace. Although we should get rid of this naval invasion. It's truly superfluous. The question that we need to ask at this point is now the time we go after the US, which is the last remaining true big boy here? Or should we go after Mexico first and turn this into a two-front war? Well, first things first. I want to go into the intel ledger here. Oh, the US has, like, no available manpower. Okay, that's interesting. They probably haven't done, like, any mobilization. So that's definitely fascinating. They're running 266 military factories right now. Navally, they're probably significantly stronger than us, but that doesn't really matter here. So it's completely irrelevant. Now, I've already checked what puppets they have. They've got Hawaii out over here, and then they've got Liberia and Sierra Leone. So that's all fine. We should be able to overrun these quite easily, in theory. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell one of our forces, and it's going to be this one, to make its way down over here. And I'm going to tell one of our tank forces, and it's going to be this one, to make its way down here. So 2 overall armies dedicated to this. Then, up this direction, we're going to need to have several armies up this way. And then we're going to need to have some out over here as well. So, to that end, the question we should ask is, just how do we want to structure this? Also, do we actually want to attack Mexico first? Well, let's take a look at Mexico's situation here. They do have Costa Rica as a puppet state. Okay, so that is reasonably fine. I'm just taking a look at what's going on down here. Also, I'd like to point out, the US is currently improving relations with the Ottoman Empire and selling equipment to Norway, both of which are within our faction. So that's intriguing, for sure. I mean, they're not very happy with us, but whatever. I suppose we could improve relations with them. We are definitely planning on fighting them, but I do want to start justifying over here on Mexico. It doesn't really matter where we do this justification. So let's get that justification going. So next up, I'm going to take this tank unit and we're going to put it here because we're planning on fighting. We're planning on fighting Mexico. That said, I do expect 2 units to be capable of defeating Mexico. So that's the idea there. I want to make sure that we have a naval base in Guatemala. That'll be a pretty handy thing to have. Definitely. So that will be necessary. Then Costa Rica down here, we don't really have a way to get to, do we? That would require a naval invasion. That's fine. We can definitely do that. So said naval invasion would come from, say, Cuba here, and would just go... We don't have access through the Panama Canal. Yeah, that's fine. I'm wondering if we could do a naval invasion instead, because that's not the route that we want to take. I wonder if we could go to here? No. Okay. So we're going to have to come from the other direction. That complicates matters significantly. We don't appear to be able to land on this coast, which is, of course, kind of silly, but we don't appear to be able to land on this coast. It doesn't really matter. Costa Rica is not a major concern here. Okay, so that is fine. I want to put an infantry unit here. I'm just thinking about how we want to do this. I'm thinking that this infantry unit will go here, and it will actually be in charge of holding all 3 of these borders. So let's select 8 of these units. There we go. And I'm going to tell these guys to come hold here, like that. Then I'm going to select another 8. And they are going to hold here, like that. These didn't actually get assigned. So we're going to have to grab these again. And they're going to get assigned there. Okay. So they're going to hold those locations. That's fine. Next, we can have 1 infantry unit located here. And then we can have 1 infantry unit spread out across this entire border. Now, that's obviously not ideal. This is a very wide front for that. But I guess that's fine for now. I definitely want to have a tank unit over here. and we're going to put a tank unit there. This area over here should definitely have some units assigned to it. I'm going to grab 8 units here. And they are going to frontline over on this side over here like that. So it's approximately like that. That covers our entire border in theory. So that's reasonably fine. Then we've got 2 additional units here. Now I'm going to have the army group frontline up here, and that should give us 2 armies here. So that's 24 divisions and, well, let's see here. That's 55 total divisions, which is the correct number. So that is good. So that'll keep all of our units where they're supposed to be in theory. Now, we should probably, before this war actually breaks out, we should probably make absolutely certain that we have a good, strong border here, and we should probably also have some sort of solid supplies here. So we're going to get all of these queued up for the moment. That seems fine. And then over here, and then over here, and also here, and here. So we get all of that done. And then these areas up this way. Okay, so it will be something along the lines of this. We just want to make sure we're nice and well fortified here. I'm also going to fortify over here, just in case. And I guess we may as well fortify over in this side as well. There's no reason not to, in my opinion. So that seems reasonably fine. That's nicely set up at this point. Now, anti-air. We're going to need anti-air in all of these border regions for sure. Let's get all of that going and make sure that we have anti-air set up in these border regions as well. We'll want anti-air in other locations, I'm sure, but for now, that'll be fine. Okay, infrastructure. Well, we can build infrastructure over this way. Ooh, that's, okay, there we go. We can now kind of see what's going on. Is this Ottoman over here? Yes, it is. Okay, that's fine. I definitely want to get infrastructure queued up, but the question is infrastructure really the highest priority here? The answer to that is probably no. Probably no. So we can come down over here and get infrastructure built over this way as well. That's reasonably fine. We've got this area here. This is controlled by the Dutch, so I'm not too concerned about that. But locations that we control, I want to get this infrastructure built in. That will be reasonably good for now. We control this, we control this, we control this. That's all fine. We have significant holdings in the Caribbean at this point. Okay, so this is presumably under our control here. Yes, it is. Is this? Presumably. Okay, so that looks reasonably fine for now. The question is, are we actually working on these land forts and anti-air? The answer is no, and we should move those up, for sure. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here, and Guatemala should be moved up as well. We absolutely need a naval base there. So that's looking reasonably fine. We're going to want to get these done quite quickly. So something like this. The infrastructure happens after. But I do want to have this naval base be the top priority here. Okay. So we're going to do something like that for now. Now, we should check in on supply considerations. So up over here, I want to check in on these railroads. Okay. I'm going to queue up railroad upgrades here. These are going to be relatively top priority. They should go quite quickly. I'm not planning on immediately just jumping into this war, right? So in theory, this should be reasonably fine. I do want to get these queued up. This is kind of a railroad to nowhere up here, but okay. We'll get them done. So something along the lines of that. This railroad can get leveled up, and that should be pretty much all of the Canadian railroads upgraded. That's fine for now. Now, I want to go into the supply mode and take a look at these hubs. We're probably going to want a hub here. Otherwise, these hubs are pretty well distributed along this front. So that looks fine. I don't think there's any major issues there. Those railroad upgrades will get done quite quickly, and we're still working on some of these defenses in the background, including the naval bases. So that's all good. Let's get those done nice and swiftly. Okay, so we can start to tick forward here. That looks good. And we've got these 2 infantry divisions. They're just going to get sorted somewhere. And these guys don't have orders right now. They just get combined back into this army, and that's absolutely fine. Expeditionary forces are called back. That's fine. No shockers there. Also, we can invite to faction. Who is this? Well, obviously we just want to invite anyone into faction that we can. So this is okay. Who are you? Guatemala. Actually, that makes things a little simpler over here. Definitely. We'll invite them to faction. And who else do we have here? Saxony? Absolutely. Saxony joins. And we've got Radical Nassau. Okay. Sure, why not? So, this front is going to have to be modified then, because Guatemala is in this. I still want this naval base to be built. It looks like Guatemala doesn't even have a naval base, so we're definitely going to need that. But this front line is going to get extended all the way over to the sea here, and the same with this front line. This is actually a significantly good thing here. Yeah, about like that. This is a significantly good thing that Guatemala is here. So that looks good. No problem there. And of course, these expeditionary forces are being called back. That's fine. Those are all in here. We don't mind that. So this guy's at 25 out of 30. We should definitely pull some tanks out of our reserve unit here. So this is going to be 5 tank units that get pulled out. That's going to move in here. Any others that need an increase? Yes. These 2 require additional... Okay. Yep. These 2 here require additional infantry. So let's pull 6 units out of this one. That's 7. 6. There we go. And let's pull an additional 6 units. These guys are going to go here. Okay, that looks good. I wish we could put in a leader here. We really can't. We can't afford to promote these guys, and that is very, very sad. But that's, I guess, fine. So at this point, we can check in on our production here. I don't think we need this level of close air support. I'm going to bump this down, but before we do that, let's bring our carriers up to about here. Advanced artillery, I think, can be here. Advanced anti-air can be here. This is all fine. Modern large airframes, I'm going to put up to 10, and we're going to put here. Transport planes about... Well, I don't think we need more than about 10. I don't think we need that much, to be honest. We'll leave that on 5. MiGs, we'll put up to 30. We probably don't need this level of tank production, but for the moment, I'm going to say this is okay. We're going to cut our modern close air support production down to here. And that's going to immediately change a lot of things around, right? But that doesn't quite fill out all of this. Understood. We could cut some tank production down to about here just to make sure that the rest of that is filled out. Something like this. Okay, that would work. And then I would like to get started on military factories anywhere we can. These are high priority constructions, to be sure. So we would get a fair amount of them done here. Okay. And this territory over here, how much of this is our territory? I think all of this is our territory. So we'll want to get started on all of that. So this is a lot of construction that we're queuing up here, absolutely. But I do think that this is very important construction to get done. So anything down here in Africa, absolutely yes. And we want to get these military factories online as soon as possible. So all of this is going to be high priority construction work. Over here in India, there's also a whole lot of them available now, and that looks good. We do want additional military factories, after all, so let's get all of that going. And we can build down here as well, in Australia too. Looks like there's a little bit down over here. That's a foreign territory, technically. Okay, we've got this here. That looks good. Okay. So we're going to get started on something like that. All of these military factories are going to take a little while to get through. The question is that okay? Well, I want to work on these railroads first, and that supply depot, and the naval base. But beyond that, let's get these military factories completed. Okay, so that all looks pretty good there. And we do have some decisions to be done here. We could demobilize our economy. So this would bring us to partial mobilization. So one of the following must be true. Does not have the economy law war economy and at least 50% war support. Our war support's only 36, so we do have to demobilize our economy for right now. Now, we can probably remobilize it. So this would go down to partial mobilization. It costs 150 to do it this way, so we should do it through the decision here. So we'll demobilize that economy. And this should no longer be progressing. Cool. That will slow down our construction a little bit. And we are planning on going back to war. But we do need to do something there. So that's reasonably fine. Our manpower is not perfect, but this seems relatively okay. We still have a closed economy here, and we're still on extensive conscription, so that seems relatively fine. Partial mobilization does, of course, mean that 5% more factories are working on consumer goods. And maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe not. So we're going to continue to work through these constructions. Wow, that's laggy when that's open. Okay. We also may want to queue up radar stations along these borders. But for the time being, this is fine. Yeah, the Ottoman Empire is taking their expeditions back, as is Bavaria. That's fine. We knew that that would likely be happening. So combat casualties is improving, but it's still at about minus 30%. That's going to take some time to recover. I don't necessarily expect that to be a significant amount of time. Well, I mean, I do expect it to be a significant amount of time. I should say what I don't expect is that this actually ends up recovering before we declare another war. That is almost certainly not going to happen, which is fine. That's absolutely A-okay. If we manage to get into a war with only Mexico or with a small coalition without the US, I think we can do that without being on war economy. So that would be absolutely okay. So that seems good. For the moment, we may want... Well, actually, let's check in. How long is this justification going to take? Noted. We can recruit an operative, and we probably should. You'll do. Okay. So we do have this unassigned division here. You definitely go out over into this reserve, which we just looted. We absolutely pillaged that reserve. But that's okay. No problem. How much are we gaining monthly at this point? 44.58, actually 45.46. That's improving. That is not bad at all. We have a lot of non-core population, though. 1.28 billion at this point. That's a lot. No doubt about that. And let's take a look at the Carpetania map mode here. This is what I'm going to call it going forward. We definitely have some work to be done at this point. Are you in the European Confederacy? What is this? I mean, Poland joined it, so there's that. Yeah, you're in the European Association. Okay. That is reasonably fine. We're going to fight them, but I want to eliminate the United States before we do anything major there. And I would like to have access to attacking them from both the north and south via Mexico, if at all possible. So that would be wonderful, and we'll see how that ends up going. This Mountaineer Division can go into, say, here. That's absolutely fine. Now, we currently have free dockyards, which is mildly surprising. I'm just looking at how much free resources we have. We have a lot of resources available right now. And we might want to consider getting additional... Well, I'm going to take this down to 3 submarine hull productions. I'm going to shift this, at this point, over to destroyer hull productions. Yes, I realize that these are very close to finishing, and I'm sad about that. But I want to shift these over. Yeah, we're going to lose some production. And that's going to be these 3 working on destroyer hulls. Now, I want to get at least 1 more line working on cruiser hulls. We can put 10 into that. So really, we should put 2 more lines into cruiser hulls. So cruiser hull here, and a second line of cruiser hull. Something like this. And they are going to be right up over here. and we should have the resources to do this. We're going to lack dockyards a little bit by 1. That's fine for right now. Okay, so that is all put to work. That looks good. Now, I want our navies to just kind of be disbanded for the moment. I want these guys to just go back into the reserves. Okay, I want to select all of these task forces, and I want to just group those together for right now. Cool. That should be fine for the moment. We're going to need a fairly strong navy if we want to contest the U.S. navally. We're not really in a position to do that, and we don't really need to. Since we have this big land border here, we can just fight there, but we're looking to develop a second front down here. With our numerical advantage, we should have a significant advantage in doing it this way. So the idea here would be that these guys press in through Mexico and take over Mexico. Then, when war with the US breaks out, these guys immediately eliminate their overseas holdings here. We're going to ignore Hawaii. Hawaii doesn't really matter for our calculations here. But then, as soon as these fall, these guys can be shifted over to the Mexican front. And we should, in theory, be able to pincer the United States much the same way we did Germany. Or I guess we should say Prussia. So that's absolutely fine in theory. Now I want to check in here. We are gaining in the combat casualties at this point. Okay, so that looks good. We're mostly just sitting here and letting our combat casualties fix themselves, building a lot of things, no doubt about that. And we're also, I'm wondering how many factories do we actually need here? It's not that many, but it's a decent number. We're also building up our numbers of things, right? Now, one thing that we should probably do is disband some of these fighter wings. So we're going to disband air wings wherever we can. So there's this one here that will disband. And this is going to bring, in theory, a fair amount back to the reserves. Yeah. That's going to be a pretty decent amount of manpower returning to the reserves here. So that looks good. I want to make sure that all of these planes are returned to reserves. Something like that. There should not be any planes currently being deployed. So that looks good. Apparently, oh, this is a Marine division that doesn't have any orders right now. So I don't think we can really contest Hawaii here. And if we can't actually do anything here, then we might want to make sure, well, are these guys told to area defend up here? They're not, and they really probably should be. Because this area is going to be hotly contested by naval invasions. So we'll do something along the lines of that. And I guess we can defend this area as well. This area should not require it. Okay, so that seems reasonably fine. I think our war planning is honestly pretty close to done. We do have this territory down here. Hang on, I don't think we looked at this previously. Yeah, we can build infrastructure here. Can we build any... There's no naval base here, but we don't necessarily need one. Can we build any factories here? No. We can build one over here, in fact, 2. Should we build civilian? I'm thinking civilian factories there would be reasonably good. We can build some here as well. Apparently we missed those. Sure, that seems fine. Any others that we missed? Apparently, yes. There we go. That looks reasonably solid. One down here. I think this is just, we're getting access to more slots as we, like, establish our position here. That seems fine. So we're going to get those worked on. We have a ways to go before we're, quote-unquote, ready to fight the U.S. That said, I'm considering moving up our land forts in priority here. I want to check in. Where are they? They should be right up over here. Okay. Yeah, I'm strongly considering moving them up. They build quite quickly. And I do think having them completed is reasonably important before this war breaks out. So if we can do this before the war breaks out, that would be great. We would want to get a fair amount of this construction done, but I don't think there's any way we get it all done. I would also like to build here, here, and here, but we can't do that. Guatemala does not allow us to construct in their territory, even though they're part of our faction, which is kind of sad. I wish that they did let us construct in their territory, but alas, here we are. Cool. So we're not going to be at peace for too much longer here. I do plan on attacking Mexico about when this justification finishes, but it's not done yet, and it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to attack Mexico. We'll see if the US does anything about it. I kind of don't expect them to, but if they do, we'll be ready. So that'll be great. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.